Rado Vichtersbach, Tea Story. Translated by Wesley Hamilton. Emperor Shen Nong and his daughter Cha.
Once upon a time, no one remembers when, there lived a mighty Chinese emperor Shen Nong. His empire was very extensive, so he was mightily involved with government. In his spare time, however, he loved to attend to his plants. Behind the palace he managed a large park with many trees, shrubs, flowers and plants of many varieties. When he was tired, and without ideas, he went into the park, and, surrounded by green colors and intoxicating scents, gained new strength that somehow cleared his thoughts. The emperor's youngest daughter Cha also liked the park, and in particular a gently fragrant white blossoming bush, which she thought to be special. She believed that the smell from the bush strengthened the spirit, giving rise to beautiful thoughts. Near this special bush she set up a small pavilion. There she met with her friends, and chatted with them, drinking boiled water, as was the custom to do. One day the emperor of a neighboring empire came to pay a friendly visit. He brought with him his son Wulong. When Cha saw him through the window, she immediately liked him. She persuaded her father to give her the responsibility next day of taking the emperor's son on a tour of the park. Early in the morning they went into the park. They walked among the fragrant flowers and the lush tree canopy, then over the footbridge, and among the green glades. Cha shared with Wulong the greatest secrets of the park, but he remained in pensive mood, quiet and deep in thought. When they had almost completed the tour of the park they came to Cha's pavilion. Silently they sat down, and were served with boiled water. The emperor's son seemed visibly tired and lacking in energy.
If the power of the plants does not come through the senses of his eyes and nose,
Cha thought,
perhaps it will come through the mouth.
She secretly plucked a few leaves from the bush, and spilled them in the bowl with warm water. The water became gently colored. When the emperor's son raised his cup of water, he could see the leaves and colored water. He looked suspiciously at Cha, but when he saw the same leaves in her cup, he encouraged himself to take a sip. The liquid was a mysterious taste, but had a certain appeal, which he found satisfying. The smell emanating from the container gracefully enhanced the taste and his desire for more. For the first time that day he smiled, and was compelled to take another sip. He then took another sip and another one. The tension in his body seemed to be abated as he did this. The liquid was offering his body warmth, and a new sense of lightness, joy, and relaxation that he had not known before. He had never experienced anything like this in the strict military school, where he was now spending most of his days.
Meanwhile Cha raised a cup of the colored water, and moved it close against his face. Her upper lip slightly touched the liquid over the edge of the cup, and with half-closed eyes, she secretly watched the emperor's son. The liquid slowly slid into her mouth, and, as it did so, she could feel a quiet stirring of the emotions deep within. The mysterious smell rising from the surface of the liquid was behaving also as a mist against the face of Wulong. This tended to kindle and even intensify her warm feelings, and as she closed her eyes she quietly sighed.
Birth of Tea, Cha.
The emperor's son exclaim awakened her.
What is it that we drink? Do you not consider it sufficient to drink only boiled tap water?
Yes, we do,
she answered.
But here in my pavilion I have permission from my father that water prepared in my special way can be served.
This is really good,
was his reply.
I have never drunk such a beautiful liquid before. I feel it has given strength to my whole body.
He grabbed the cup with both hands, lifted it up, and slowly drank from it again.
What do you call this magic liquid?
He asked. At that moment Cha's teacher Mako came running across to the pavilion.
Cha,
she called, somewhat short-winded and out of breath.
Cha, hurry up, the sun is far beyond the Tower of the Five Temples, and the emperor eagerly awaits you in the palace.
They all looked at Cha. She was sitting quietly, as if nothing had happened. Lifting her cup, she moved it closer to her mouth, slowly drinking the remaining liquid.
"This charming liquid is too beautiful to leave unfinished,"
she said, as she placed the empty cup on the table. She then turned slowly toward Wulong, looked deep into his eyes and said quietly,
"Are you satisfied with the answer to your question? Now let us go back so as not to exasperate my father. If you like the drink and feel happy in my company, I invite you for another cup of tea again tomorrow, when the sun is above the Tower of 5 Temples."
She got up from the chair and headed toward the palace. The Emperor's son joined her, and the entire suite strolled behind them. Those who were right behind them saw how Wulong wrapped her arm with his, and how he entwined his fingers with hers. This was indeed a very special moment, and all who were looking on were aware of the special connection that had been formed between them while drinking tea at the pavilion.
Green and oolong tea.
Next morning, the idea of an afternoon tea party was very much in the mind of Cha. She wanted to be ready and well prepared, so she, her teacher Mako, and the attendants went to the park to check all was in order for the occasion and looking good. First, she picked a few leaves from her bush, placed them in her own and the Mako's cup, and sprinkled them with boiling water. When the water was a gentle golden color, they tested it. The tea had a seductive scent, and the taste had a friendly appeal, the same as yesterday. Cha, however, was not completely satisfied. She had a feeling more could be gained from the plants, if she were to be a bit more creative in her approach. She decided to rinse lightly some wilted leaves with cold water to refresh them. Then she kneaded them gently and thoroughly with her hands, poured them into the empty cups and sprinkled in some water. The liquid initially became a rapid pale green in color. The color slowly escalated into an intense golden yellow. When Cha tried the fluid, it seemed that the taste was not only gentle and mild, but much more sophisticated and fresh. The aroma was simply divine and heavenly.
"Yes,"
she sighed.
"This is the right way to prepare tea."
She looked questioningly at Mako, who sipped tea from her cup.
"I agree fully with you,"
she said.
"It is divine."
At that moment, Cha took a sip from the earlier cup in which the tea leaves had sunk to the bottom. Although she found it still tempting, the smell seemed bitter in comparison, and its taste somewhat unfriendly and stale.
"Too long soaking is not good for tea,"
she concluded. Mako absently nodded, and could be seen to be still enjoying the smell and taste of tea from the stem's leaves.
"It is quite enough if the leaves are allowed to soak in the water for 2 or 3 cupfuls on my view and city."
Since she had some hot water, Cha picked up some sun-dried leaves of a bush that had fallen on the ground. They were dark red, hard and too large for the cup. In order to soften them, she first washed them in hot water, and then gently rolled them up between her palms. The leaves evolved into short spindle rolls. The smells filled the heart, and Mako, who followed the efforts of Cha with interest, now eagerly smelled the wonderful aromas that were circulating.
"This is a much stronger and delightful smell than the previous one,"
she concluded. When there were enough rolls, she placed them in empty cups and spilled in some hot water. The liquid became dark, almost orange in color. Out of this an elusive mix of flavors boiled up.
"It smells really beautiful,"
she said, and tasted it. The taste was different, darker and full.
"Stronger and more masculine,"
Mako confirmed and Char approvingly nodded.
"This will be enough for now,"
concluded Char as she stood up.
"Besides, it would be wonderful if I were to add a jasmine flower, a pinch of ginger or cinnamon fragment, but this will have to wait until next time. That the magic liquid be called after me is of course right,"
Char said to Mako, when they were returning to the palace.
"But both teas are not the same. The first I will name green tea because it is made from fresh green leaves. The second, made from dry, red leaf, could be called red tea. However, in all teas the emperor's son played an important role. Therefore, I will name the second tea, which is, as you say, more masculine, after him, oolong, or, as they call him at home, oolong tea."
Mako quietly considered the thought.
"What a smart girl."
To be continued.